Have you ever felt like you were falling apart, like something inside you cracked and you couldn't hold the pieces together anymore? That feeling, the one where your chest is heavy, your mind is loud, and your heart is quietly breaking. That's not weakness. It's part of being alive. It's part of becoming. And if you stick with this video till the end, you'll understand why your breaking point might be the most powerful turning point of your life. There comes a moment in every person's journey when the weight becomes too much. Not because they're fragile, but because they've been strong for too long. When the world doesn't see the silent battles you fight, when even the smallest smile feels like a lie, when you start questioning your own worth because of the pain you carry. But listen closely, pain doesn't mean you're broken forever. It means you're being reshaped. Psychologists say the human mind is wired to avoid pain, yet growth often demands it. The mind panics in chaos, but the soul wakes up in it. We live in a world that celebrates the outcome, but forgets the breakdown that made it possible. No one talks about the nights spent crying on the floor. No one celebrates the days when you could barely breathe, but still showed up anyway. But you're here, you're listening, and that means something. That means you haven't given up on yourself, even if the world gave up on you. The truth is, everyone breaks at some point. Everyone. The strongest people you admire, the ones who seem untouchable, fearless, unstoppable, they've felt what you're feeling. They've doubted themselves. They've been lost. They've questioned their purpose. The difference is they didn't let that breaking define them. They used it to build something stronger, something deeper. And you can too. You see, when the heart breaks, it doesn't shatter to end. It shatters to open, to let light in, to let new truth come through. When you're at your lowest, your mind is quiet enough to hear what really matters. When you lose what you thought you needed, you're free to discover what you were always meant for. There's a powerful shift that happens in pain. It peels off the masks. It shows you who you really are and what you're really capable of. You don't have to have it all together. You don't have to pretend you're fine. You just have to keep moving through the storm. The breaking is not your ending, it's your becoming, because only those who've been broken truly understand strength. Only those who've known darkness can recognize the power of their own light. Keep listening. Because by the end of this video, you'll stop seeing yourself as damaged and start seeing yourself as destined. The break you're experiencing isn't the end of your story. It's the page before the rise. And that rise, it's going to be breathtaking. You weren't meant to stay whole through everything. Life isn't a clean, polished path. It's rough, raw, and real. Sometimes it knocks you so hard you don't even recognize yourself in the mirror anymore. But here's the truth that most people never hear. Breaking is not a sign you're finished. It's a sign you've started. It's the moment when the old version of you is stripped away and space is made for something new to rise. Growth doesn't come in comfort. It comes when you're undone, unsure, and standing at the edge of everything you thought you were. Psychologists have studied post-traumatic growth for years. It's real. People who go through deep emotional or psychological pain often emerge stronger, clearer, and more alive than before. Not in spite of the pain, but because of it. Why? Because when you break, your mind is forced to rebuild. And when it rebuilds, it doesn't rebuild the same way. It leaves behind what wasn't working. It holds on to what matters. The broken parts don't vanish. They become the blueprint for something more real, more grounded, more powerful. You don't find out who you really are when things are easy. You find out who you are when your world falls apart and you have to choose whether to stay down or crawl forward. And every step, no matter how slow, becomes proof that you're not finished yet. The people who seem unshakable aren't untouched. They're transformed. They use their pain as fuel. They turned every fall into a step, every scar into a symbol. And they didn't wait until they felt ready. They moved while they were still hurting. Think about nature. A seed breaks before it becomes a tree. A caterpillar dissolves completely before becoming a butterfly. There is no transformation without destruction. There is no evolution without surrender. And there is no light without first knowing the dark. The moment you think everything is falling apart, it might just be falling into place. Because it's not the end that breaks you. It's the beginning that tests you. Letting go of what you were doesn't mean you lose your identity. It means you finally make space to discover who you were always meant to be. That's what pain does. It carves space inside you, space for wisdom, space for strength, space for clarity. And yes, it hurts, it burns. But what's being burned away wasn't meant to stay. What's left when the fire is out is the real you. The you that can't be broken the same way again. If you're in the middle of that breaking, breathe. You're not lost. You're being shaped. Something inside you is waking up. Something is being rebuilt. You won't stay in the ruins forever. You're not here to be defeated. You're here to be defined, not by your fall, but by your rise. And the rise always begins in the rubble. Look up at the moon sometime. Really look. It's not flawless. It's covered in scars, craters, ridges. Dark patches. Every mark on its surface is a story of impact, of something that hit hard and left a mark behind. And yet that same moon lights up the night sky. It glows not because it's perfect, but because it endured. That's what makes it beautiful. That's what makes it powerful. You don't have to be untouched to shine. You just have to survive what tried to silence you. The moon doesn't glow by its own light. It reflects the light it receives, just like us. When you go through dark moments, when pain smashes into you like a meteor, it leaves marks, emotional scars, invisible but deep. But here's the part that changes everything. Those scars don't take your light. They give it direction. They teach you where to shine. They teach you what matters. You reflect every lesson, every wound, every loss as light, because you've been through the dark, and now you know how to bring others through it too. There is something unexplainably powerful about someone who has been broken but still chooses to rise. Not with bitterness, but with wisdom. Not with fear, but with fire. Human psychology proves this. People who've faced adversity and chosen healing often carry more depth, more resilience, more compassion. They've seen darkness and still chose to be a light. They've felt pain and still chose to be kind. That's not weakness. That's strength of a higher kind. That's what real glow looks like. So many people think they have to be perfect to be worthy. They wait until they're healed, until they feel whole, until the scars are faded. But you don't shine after the pain is over. You shine in the middle of it. You shine because of it. Just like the moon, your glow is born from your trials. Every heartbreak, every breakdown, every time life shattered your peace. That's where your story gained its power. Think about it. If the moon were smooth, untouched, unscarred, we wouldn't admire it the same way. We're drawn to it because of the contrast. The darkness makes the light more visible. The cracks make it real. It teaches us something valuable. Stop hiding your pain. Stop pretending you're unbreakable. You don't have to be unmarked to be magnificent. You just have to be honest. You just have to keep showing up. The beauty in you isn't in being untouched. It's in being marked and still choosing to rise. It's in being broken and still choosing to shine. Because the moon was never meant to be perfect. It was meant to reflect light despite everything it's been through. And so were you. There's a reason the moon shines in the quiet. It doesn't scream for attention. It doesn't ask for applause. It rises slowly, silently, and still becomes the most powerful presence in the night sky. That's what real strength looks like. Not noise, not validation, just quiet persistence. And sometimes that's what your journey demands. Silence, solitude, space to breathe, time to grow when no one is watching. Human psychology tells us something profound. True transformation rarely happens in front of others. It happens in solitude. When the world goes quiet, when you're alone with your thoughts, your fears, your truth, that silence isn't empty. It's full of answers. But we run from it because silence makes us face ourselves. It brings up everything we've avoided, insecurities, regrets, wounds we thought we buried. But that's exactly where healing begins. Not in distraction, but in depth. Not in the noise of the crowd, but in the whisper of the soul. The moon doesn't compare itself to the sun. It doesn't compete for brightness. It just keeps showing up in phases, in silence, in stillness. Some nights it's barely there. Others, it dominates the sky, and yet it's never questioned. That's the lesson. You don't need to be full to be enough. You don't need to be perfect to have value. Some seasons you'll feel whole. Some seasons you'll feel like a sliver of yourself. But even then, you are still you, still worthy, still powerful. You might be in a season of quiet right now, where no one sees how hard you're trying, where your growth feels invisible, where the progress is so internal it feels like nothing's happening at all. But it is. Every silent night you spend healing is planting roots deeper than the world can see. Every moment you choose growth over comfort, stillness over chaos, you're changing in ways that matter. You don't have to prove anything to anyone. The moon doesn't explain its glow, and neither do you. Solitude teaches you how to be enough without needing the world to tell you so. It teaches you how to enjoy your own company, how to trust your own voice. In a world that constantly demands performance, silence becomes your sanctuary. You learn to slow down, to listen, to reconnect with the parts of you that got lost in the noise. That's where clarity lives. That's where confidence is born, not from people cheering for you, but from you choosing yourself in the quiet. Don't fear this season of silence. Don't rush through it. Let it do what it came to do. Let it strengthen you. Let it stabilize you. You are becoming someone who doesn't need to chase light, because you've discovered it was inside you all along. And once you've found that kind of light, no darkness can take it from you. One day, someone will be drowning in the same silence you once survived. Someone will be sitting in the dark, feeling broken, feeling like they've reached the end, and they'll look for a sign, a story, a voice that says, you're not alone. And that voice might be yours. The pain you're carrying now, the battles you're quietly fighting, they're not just shaping you. They're preparing you to become someone else's strength. That's the hidden power of your struggle. You're not just healing for yourself. You're healing so you can light the way for someone who hasn't made it this far yet. Human beings are wired for connection. We're built to seek out meaning in others' experiences. And when we see someone who's been through the fire and still stands tall, it rewires something deep inside us. Psychology calls it modeling. When people witness someone overcome adversity, it activates hope. It opens up belief. That's what you'll become. A living example that broken does not mean beaten. That scarred does not mean finished. That silent strength is still strength. You might not see it now, but the very thing you're surviving could be the thing that saves someone else. Your story matters more than you think. Not because it's perfect, but because it's real, because it's honest, because it carries the kind of truth that can't be faked. You don't need a stage. You don't need millions of followers. You just need a heart that's willing to keep going, even when it hurts. And when the time is right, your journey will speak louder than any words ever could. Think about the people you've admired most. It wasn't their comfort that moved you. It was their comeback. It wasn't their perfection that inspired you. It was their perseverance. We don't connect to flawless people. We connect to those who've fallen and chosen to rise anyway. Who've felt the weight of life and still dared to stand. That's you. That's what you're becoming. And maybe right now, all you have are pieces. Maybe you're still unsure, still tired, still aching. That's okay. Keep holding those pieces. Keep breathing through the heaviness. Because every time you choose not to give up, you're writing a future moment where someone will hear your story and finally believe in their own survival. The break you experienced won't just shame, it'll guide. There's nothing more powerful than a soul that's been shattered and still loves, still hopes, still gives. That kind of soul changes the world, not loudly, but deeply. So don't hide your journey. Don't be ashamed of the cracks. They're the proof that life tried to silence you and you refused. One day someone will thank you, not for being perfect, but for being real, for surviving what they thought they never could. The moon doesn't shine just for itself. It shines to light the path for others in the night, and so will you. Because everything that once broke you is becoming the very reason someone else will heal.